Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. And an Easter adjacent card. Not quite Easter, but it's got a bunny on it. I'm using products from the Simon Says Stamp February 2026 release, which just came out. I will have a link to the release in the description box below the video. And I have more videos coming, of course. And yeah, embossing folders, die cuts, stamp. There's a lot. This is a big release. There's a lot of fun stuff. And I couldn't resist starting with this cute little bunny. And I got an embossing folder and wafer dies. And I pulled out stickles and splatters and all the things. So everything I used will be listed and linked in the description box below the video. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links and end up placing an order, I do get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. That is what helps keep the lights on, pays the bills, keeps my heaters running, enables me to keep bringing out content. And yeah, let's get into making this card. So I started with the flower frame embossing folder, and I ran that through my die cut machine with some distress watercolor paper. And it's fabulous. Look at all that texture. It's so good. So I've got my little embossed background, and I pulled out 4 very springy colors of Pawsitively saturated inks. I have SEAFOAM, Butter, Shell, and Celery. And all I'm doing is taking a small blending brush and slapping that color on here. Doesn't need to be special or like blended in a special way or anything like that. I'm just slapping the color on, literally. And yeah, I'm not worried about the center either. That's gonna get covered up. And this is it. I'm trying to think of like something groundbreaking that that I did here. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything that special. The only thing I did do, I avoided putting the green like right next to the pink shade, because I am going to spray this with water and I didn't want a chance at getting like weirdly muddy. It's not too much of a risk because, yeah, I'm not, like I said, I'm not doing any crazy blending, anything like that. I just wanted a lot of pretty color on here. And once I got the color on there, I'm going to spray it with water, which isn't going to look like a whole lot on camera, but it did give it a little bit more texture, and it did lighten it a bit because these inks are water reactive. Like, I applied a fairly heavy bit of ink to all this, which gets absorbed into the distress watercolor paper. So again, it's not changed. And I also didn't like soak this. Like, I gave it a few spritzes with water, and then I immediately dried it with my heat tool because I didn't want a lot of movement. It was more to get that little bit of texture, and it did lighten everything up a little bit. And then once it was dry, we're good to go. So after it was dry, I trimmed it down to roughly 4 by 5 1/4, just smaller than an A2 card panel. And then I die cut some green apple cardstock with the largest nested stitched rectangle wafer dies. I do love me a good stitching wafer die. I've said that a lot. And I like that the largest one is A2 sized, so I can get that stitched border. Awesome. And then I die cut some vellum with one of the chunky scalloped ovals that came out months ago. And this like aqua shade of cardstock, which was just in my stash. I don't know the source of that one, but one of the Concord 9th colors is pretty close to it. That I had die cut from the nested stitched ovals wafer dies, which I think came back in December, something like that. So I had all those for my layers. And then for my bunny, this is the new little basket bunny wafer die, and he's just adorable. He's just adorable. And you don't need to use the basket. I chose to because I was like, it's cute. And the bunny's cute. And I love that there's that second piece that I ink blended the shell ink onto for his ears. And then you could either color with marker or just like swipe some like black ink because it gets adhered behind, and then that would do the eyes and the nose. But I'm going to do something different in a second. I also added some blush to the bunny because, why not? And for that, I used Ballerina ink, which is like my go-to blush color now for little critters and things. And just a little tiny blending brush. So I gave him that. And then I'm going to adhere that little second die cut piece underneath my little bunny here. Just like so. And then instead of, like I said, I could have swiped, a black marker, black ink, whatever. I just ran this through when I was die cutting everything else. I just ran that through and die cut a scrap of black cardstock and then inlaid those pieces, and then we're good. It just, personally, I think it looks better that way. So once my little bunny's assembled, for my sentiment, I used the Giggle Hugs wafer die for my sentiment, which this one's been out for a while. I've used it in previous videos. Love it. And it's just this kind of little font and everything I thought was like perfect for just this style and to go with the bunny. So I die cut it from white cardstock, and then the outline I die cut from, that was Concord Night, the watermelon. Yeah, which went really nice with that shell ink color. So got all my little elements. Now it's time to start assembling. So I added some white and yellow baker's twine to my embossed panel. Wrap that around, use my reverse tweezers to hold the knot closed so I can tie my little bow. And you pull it tight, remove the tweezers, pull it tight again, and then fiddle with it a bit till I'm happy with it. Trim off the excess. And then that, I put Big Mama foam tape on the back of it, pop that onto the green mat, and then the oval I adhered to the vellum with a little bit of liquid glue. And then this I'm also going to pop up with the Big Mama foam tape to give it a bit of dimension. And so you can see it there. I'm holding it's upside down right now, but that's what I'm talking about when I say like adhesive shows through vellum. It's not pretty. So that's why you always want to hide it. So pop that up. And then I decided for my bunny to also use Big Mama foam tape because the stuff is so thin. So then I can use it on multiple layers and it doesn't create like a whole ton of bulk. So I pop my bunny in place with a little bit of foam tape as well as his little basket. And then we're going to leave the sentiment off for a second because of course I'm going to add splatter. Of course I'm going to add splatter. So I'm going to put this in my splat box and I'm going to add some white splatter with the Positively Perfect white splatter medium. Always needs to be stirred up. So stir that up really well because all that pigment settles to the bottom. And if you don't stir this up, it will just be like kind of milky looking. It won't be white. It'll be weird. You need to stir this stuff up. Like absolutely have to. Have to. So stirred it up really well. Added a decent amount of splatter to this background with my little fan brush. And then I'm going to add a little bit of black splatter with the Positively Perfect black. Same thing. The stuff needs to be stirred up and treated with utmost care because it is ridiculously pigmented. It will stain absolutely everything. So I wanted a very light amount of splatter with this. I didn't want to add a ton. And for the most part, I achieved that. However, I got one blob where I didn't want it. And it happens. I got a blob there right there, in the upper left. And I was like, no, that's ugly and I don't like it. So I'm going to cover it up. There's always ways. So I used the Falling Hearts wafer die plate. This one isn't going to get put away. I will be using this one a lot because I like the shape of the hearts and I like that there's multiple sizes. Plus it'll be great for a background. It'll be used in future videos. But what I love is I can just die cut whatever cardstock I want. And I've got all these little hearts because it's perfect. It's perfect. So I took the largest one because I just die cut a scrap of the same watermelon cardstock. And the largest heart got adhered with just a little bit of foam tape right over that big black splotch that I didn't like. And we're good to go. So then I also added one to the bunny, just cuz. And then a few more as little extra embellishments. And we're going to zhuzh these up in the end as well. So popped up a couple of them with just little bits of foam tape. Just cuz. And then the other ones I just adhered, just picked up with my little embellishment one and adhered to the card front with liquid glue. And then pop my little sentiment in place. And then for the inside of my card, it is a top folding A2 white note card, so 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And on the inside, I'm going to stamp a sentiment from the CZ Design Good Greetings 1 set. It's another one that, so good. So good. This set's not going to get put away. And there is a coordinating wafer die set for this stamp set. I'll link to it. Didn't need it for this because I just stamped that sentiment onto the inside of my card with some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. And then adhered a few more of my little die cut hearts And then the rest I'm just going to stick in a little dish because I can just slap them on future cards. Just cute little ready-made embellishments. So I adhered my little hearts on the inside, and then I adhered the card front to the card base. And then for the little bunny, I took glossy accents and added it just to his little eyes. It'll give it that extra little shine, a little bit of dimension. I used my little die pick. You could also use a pin because I actually went outside the lines and it was bugging me. You can't see it on camera, but in real life I could see it and it was bugging me. So I just scraped that little bit away. And then to zhuzh up my little hearts, I used diamond stickles because, like I've been saying, I have been just back on the stickles train for a while now, and it's fun. It's just fun. And if you apply it thin, it dries quite quickly. So I added it to the hearts. I also added it to the insides of his ears. And then all I have to do is let the stickles dry, and this card is complete. And so, like I said in the intro, I've got color and texture and cute little bunny and splatter, and you can't go wrong with a good stitched edge. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So yeah, this was a lot of fun, and it's just cheerful, and I am here for it. So, like I mentioned in the intro, I will have links to all of the things in the description box below the video. You just have to expand it. Everything will be listed and linked in there. And thank you all so very much for hanging out with me, for thumbs upping and commenting. It helps a ton. I very much appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!